the Manufacturers Cup, Gran Turismo 7, Round 4, Nürburgring 24 hours, or, known to most racers, the Green Hell. The race details are as follows. We have a 16 car race in a 15-minute qualifying session and a 5-lap race. We had mandatory tyres of racing mediums and racing softs, so it brought in some good strategy for the race. Before we get into today's video then guys, make sure to check out Dira, who's made delivery for our car today. Done an absolutely banging job, so thanks to him. Go check out his work, and if you want anything, just drop him a message on TikTok. In practice then, we managed to set an 8 minutes 17.4 on the soft compound tyres. Obviously we had to use the two softs and mediums, so the medium time would be drastically different compared to the softs, but we was able to be quite consistent around here depending on what tyre compound we were running. We are running softs, right? We are running softs, right? I don't know if I put softs on. I absolutely choked it. It's on it. Coming up to the final straight then to start our qualifying lap. We've took the out lap pretty easy as we didn't want to give our car a lot of tyre wear. Unfortunately, racing mediums confirmed. Don't want to be on the racing mediums, we want to be on the racing softs. So for you non-racing viewers, the softs are the better tyre choice because they have more traction to the track surface, which means you get more traction out of corners and so on. All I'm going to do is show you our mistakes throughout this qualifying lap, as if I showed you the whole lap, we're looking at 8 minute so on lap, and it's just not going to be feasible to show all of that, and in the race we'll be looking at a 45-minute long video. Enough jibber jabber, we're going to go into this clip here as we're going into the GP course. We just take this a little wide here, not able to get as close to the apex as we would have liked. Then heading towards Schumacher S's. I think it's Schumacher S's, we just bounce on the curb, unsettle the car, car's not gripped up, and it ends up sending us onto the gravel. Getting off the gravel, we go and downshift. Don't know why we downshift. I think I fat fingered the shifter, and that's what happens when you do that. Going into Nordschleife, we're on the curbs. You want to avoid the curbs here. You can take some curbs, but some curbs will absolutely destroy your race. The mediums meant we had to lift in places we wouldn't. Normally this is flat out if we're on the racing softs, depending on how brave you want to be. Again, through this sector here, you want to be flat out, but we have to do a little lift just because we don't want to lose the car. So it's just a few things that we could do to make the lap better. As we're coming through this section here, this was probably the one corner we actually was able to take all right on the mediums. We didn't lose too much time through this sector here. And then this one was a little bit of a devastating one because we get on the curb on the exit, it unsettles the car, and you don't want to do this. It's a long straight, so you lose a lot of time, and a lot of time can be gained if you get it right. As we just start catching up towards the opponents in front, it's a bit of a tricky one around here because there's varying skill gaps and people can just make mistakes, and it can then start costing your qualifying time. As you can see, we're right on the back of the Ford GT, and we have to let off, otherwise we're going to potentially ruin his qualifying and my qualifying. And I've got to remember at the end of the day, he's also trying to qualify as well, so there's no point in being selfish. At heat of the moment, things can get out of hand, but I think we had a blessing in disguise. Fortunate for us, unfortunate for him that he went off there, but a little bit of a distraction caused us to go wide, and it was just not a good lap off us. So we could definitely do better here, as we're just going towards the last corners, really, last couple of corners. It's key that you get this part right as you go down to that 1 mile straight, and if you get this wrong, you can lose a lot of time. But again, like I said earlier, if you get them right, you can gain a lot of time. As it's coming up now to the actual final corners for the lap, manage to get it right, get it down onto there, get the power out, and just head towards the line. Now I'm going to let my reaction take over so that you guys can see. There's no way I have just put my car in P2 on mediums. There's no way I would have put my car P2 on medium tyres. What the f***? P2 on mediums? Yeah, I think to say surprised would be an understatement. I didn't expect us to be on P3, especially on the mediums, which just meant that obviously the other guys in this lobby wasn't as fast. As we're just running the livery there, don't forget, check out Dima. Just kicking off the race then, as you can see, we do start in P3 from the starting grid. So we're just going to go down towards the first corner here. A bit of a sloppy start from us, not as in the get away from the line, that was perfect. It was more so everything else that followed. We were plagued with a few technical issues in this first lap, as you will see. I'll leave them in just so that you guys can see what I was experiencing, and then to see what we came from after experiencing them technical difficulties. So we're just under a little bit of pressure now from the Ferrari behind the Frenchman as he sent it up down the inside, and then for some reason you can hear my audio dropped out. That wasn't me turning the audio down and editing. For some reason, when contact was made, my audio just absolutely kicked out, and I didn't know what to do. So
my audio's got in my path.
I'm in the middle of here of asking my girlfriend.
Yeah, but it's down by my
to unplug my audio cable and plug it back in. As we're just getting sent on, so there's carnage going on in my house, and there's carnage going on the game as the Super sends it in, and it's just a bit rough there. Going down in through the Schumacher S's, the Super decides doesn't want to leave any space. I tried to leave space by going slow there, but he didn't want to, as we just get the audio sorted back out now. There's always something in these videos. One day we will have a video where we face no issues whatsoever. But a pretty bad start to the race through this whole GP section. We were already down one place from where we started, 2 places, sorry, from where we started. I was with the Ferrari and the Super going through. I was really fast through here. I always closed the gap on whoever was in front. I just felt like I had that line down. Our strategy as well, we're starting on the mediums. We were doing 3 laps on mediums and doing 2 laps on the softs. I just felt like the softs tyre range started to fall off at halfway through that 3rd lap, and it just wasn't worth it, so the risk of spinning. Moving a little bit further into the lap then, our audio goes again, and I'm not very happy at this point because I had to sort it out myself this time, and in doing so we lost quite a few places, so I had to pause the game, and when I unpaused it we were down in 7th. As we're going behind the Nissan GTR, we have a car spin out in front of us. I think they quit, which then moves us up into P6 now. I was gutted during this race because we were a lot faster than the cars around us, and we were definitely up there for a P1, a podium at least, for sure, because we just had the pace, and it was just getting caught up in these little technical issues and then skirmishes off players for positions, like pushing through and all that. So yeah, we're just making a move now on the GTR here as we shift down a gear when we take over the curb. I don't know if I just had a little bit of force feedback and then accidentally tapped the gear downshift, which made me do that, unfortunately. But that move pretty much seems to be done and dusted there. Managed to get past the GTR. We're just up into 5th place now. A little bit later in the lap then, you can see the Ferrari head just going off the track, which will give us P4 momentarily, as we just slow down too much of this corner here, and it invites him back in. Unfortunately at this moment in stage, we're both in ghost form for each of us, so we're inside of each other's cars, and the ghosting just unghosts at a terrible time and causes contact between the both of us, and neither of us ended worse off, but it was just one of them things that at the moment it wasn't great for either of us. Coming towards the later end of the lap then, you can see we're trying to make the most on P5 where we brake, but the car in front just really brakes. Like, he stayed on his braking line for so long and we weren't really expecting that, and I don't know if it was a little bit of a brake check or if it was just like that was his racing line. But yeah, contact caused by me. I think I was in a bit of a bad headspace here just because of the issues that we were having, the technical issues, and then that ghosting. And there's no excuse for what I do here. It's absolutely poor sportsmanship, and I sort of forced him off the track there, and I feel like in the moment I didn't really think about that and how that affected his race, so I need to hold my hands up there and apologise for that. So if you do watch this video, or if anybody knows him, just tell him I apologise. Yes, that was poor sportsmanship on my behalf, as the Nissan GTR is looking to make the most then of that. He's not quite got the top end here, as we're just able to get alongside us, and then we just managed to pull back away down in this downhill section. I think he saw what just happened down there and he decides to back out. I think he didn't want anything to do with us, and I'm glad he doesn't, but I'm also looking back at this, I'm a bit disappointed in like my racing ability and my behaviour for that. So everyone can slaughter me in the comments below. Coming to the end of lap 2, starting lap 3, then we start to see people show their strategies as all the majority of the soft runners in front come in to change their tyres to medium, so they're going to do 2 laps now on their medium tyres after doing 3 on the soft. Now this is the part of the race where it starts to get a little bit tense up for me. We just end the GP section there with 3.7 seconds down on the net leader. Don't forget he needs to make a pit the same as us. He was running the same strategy as us on the medium tyres. So we were just trying to claw our way back into this race now. So this lap really counted for something, as we just closed the gap to 2.9 seconds there. So we are trying to eat into the ground that is between me and the Irish lad in front, as it's going to be quite important coming down to the later stages of the race. We just managed to hit all of our turn-ins and braking points spot on. We managed to take a little bit more speed through here. If you check out the time down at the top left now, we start to close the gap there. As we was a little bit braver through that section, and like I said, if you're brave for these, there's a lot of time to be gained, but there's also a lot of time to be lost if you're messing up. As for example here, we just brake a little early, the car got a little bit squirrely, and he starts to pull away again. No matter how much we reined the driver in front, he was always able to pull away. As the gap there, we just cut later in the lap, is down to 2.4 seconds. We were quite quick through this sector here compared to the Irish chap in front. We were able to always back up through it, but it wasn't without its faults. We did make some error and misjudgments in braking lines and so on, which again, we are in our rookie season. I'm going to say, look, we're learning the game, we're learning the tracks. I do have like some racing knowledge, as you can see the racing lines off on. I do have a bit of practice a bit offline for these races, but we just get onto the dirt there. We hit the grass and we go into the barrier, but we don't lose too much time. We're only 2.4 seconds off. I think he has a bit of a moment himself, and then coming to the next clip towards the end of the lap now, we're about 1.3 seconds off of him. So we've done quite a bit of chase work that lap there. I think as it started off at about 3.9 seconds or so, to bring him in within 1 second. So here we're going to go on to the soft lap for the last 2 laps. And then we're going to put a dash of fuel into the car just to make sure. I don't think it needed to, but just to make sure that we were able to finish this race, because obviously losing the race due to not fueling properly would be disastrous. Upon completing the pit stop then, we come out in P4 as we are tasked with a fellow Brit now in P3. We have to try and overtake him so that we can chase down that gap to applicant in front. Obviously being behind P3 here is going to slow us down. We were a lot faster than the McLaren in front, and all it's doing is just opening a gap up for applicant to drive away. So we really have to try and make quick work of this here. As you can see, he is only 0.4 seconds ahead, so we have a chance to take the fellow Brit before getting onto the Nordschleife if we drive properly. As you can see, he just gets out of shape here, gets a little bit squirrely as we're going towards the Schumacher S's. I'm pretty sure these are Schumacher S's. I'm not too sure when I keep saying it, but we have an okay line there, not as good as it could be. Just heading down to this section here, getting the braking point right as the McLaren just goes and overshoots it. Managed to go up the inside here, avoiding contact, leaving plenty of space. He also left us space for the overtake as he turned back off. So yeah, it was a great little overtake there. I was pretty happy with that one, and I was just glad that there was no contacts for a change. Now, our main goal is to chase down applicant in front as we're going through the sector. We're always quick through these series of corners here, as we're just able to close the gap. But then as regards to Nordschleife, this was our bogey bit. We was really slow here. As you can see, it just opens the gap a little bit more. Halfway through the lap now then, we are closing the gap down considerably to applicant, but we just go a little bit too aggressive into that corner there, and all of the hard work that we just done starts to eke away again. As here's a little bit of a moment over the curb there. We slow it down, go into this sector. We're really quick for this sector, but I think we were just driving too hard. I think we're, in my mind, every lap's a quali lap rather than just taking our time and just being like nice and easy with the inputs. braking early for the corners, accelerating out and so on. Just consistent, smooth driving. We're just trying to push too much constantly. As we've got the gap at 0.6, 0.7 seconds now, he was pulling away for us in the sector, but as we go in towards the final lap now, he is only 0.6 seconds ahead. We've just got to nail our braking point here. It was as we nearly go into the back of him there, ruining probably both our races if that would have happened. But yeah, getting a little bit out of shape. We pulled a 9-second gap on the fellow Brit behind that we was come out of the pits to, as we just set the fastest first sector there. Applicant's just looking a little bit squirrely. I don't know if the pressure was starting to get to him, but he drove an incredible race, and it was thrilling to drive this race as we just go to make our move for P2, our first move here. Just go. This has been our worst sector by far. We always seem to get the braking point wrong here as he just goes wide there. Don't know if he goes off track, manages to keep it on track. I think now I start settling on the one that's going to be driving under pressure now. What can I do? Applicant had his chance just as we managed to get a better line through there than we normally do. Not as good as Applicant, he's still gaining on us from behind quite quick. So now it's just we've got to try and pull away, we've got to try and keep it clean, consistent. But it's very hard to say that and not be in your own head, especially at the Nürburgring where accidents can happen on any corner. Still maintaining the fastest lap so far. Let's say fastest sectors for the fastest lap. As we head to our favourite part of the track, just absolutely sent it through these. That time was a little bit ropey, had to let off, but yeah, Applicant managed to keep the gap and close it down us as we just have a little bit of a moment here. Our tyres had a little bit of degradation, nothing too major, but as I found after this lap, they started to wear away. Just starting to open the gap here to Applicant now. We are about 2 seconds as we have a little moment here. You just don't know how easy it is to make a little mistake around Nürburgring because it's such a long lap and it requires such a lot of attention. It can happen at any time and anywhere. But we just managed to, settle back into a rhythm. That's happened. Let's not make anything else. Let's focus up now and try and pull away. He didn't gain too much on us from that little mistake that we made. As we're there, I think Applicant has a little bit of a moment himself now as the gap opens up to about 3 seconds and more. So at this point I'm starting to feel like the pressure's starting to ease off a little bit. We've got a little bit of gap to work with. It's just all about bringing the car home now. As we go through YouTube corner, you guys really need to help me out with these track names, corner names. Just getting onto the grass there. We've got to be careful because that right hand side of the car now, the tyres are going to be dirty because we're onto grass, so we don't want to push it too much and lose it and potentially invite Applicant back into this race. Just hitting our braking points perfect. Overcompensating though, and just taking down to third gear instead of fourth and then going through. Looking for our braking point here into the little carousel. And now all it is just getting this corner down perfect and then going into the danger hose so we can carry all that speed. We let off a little too much here, especially on softs. I think we were too used to the medium tyre driving, but we want to use all of the track width pretty much going through here so you can gain as much speed going down the danger hose as we open up the gap to 5 seconds there. And I think at this point now we'd have to be pretty mighty through the last corners to mess it up. I did see that the fuel remaining was 0.3 laps and I sort of went into panic mode. I knew I'd be fine, but for some reason I started to put some sort of fuel saving on. We had the 5 second gap, so it weren't really harmful for us. I don't know why I done it, but I did, and it didn't cost us anything, so it's just nice to play out on the side of caution. Yes, that is what we needed. After last week, that is what we needed. Oh, I'm sweating. I have never sweated so much in my life. Here are the final standings then, guys, after round 4. Just want to again apologise to the guy that we took out before the Dot and Joho. If you've enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will catch you in round 5.